Mic drop. I mean, don't at me, but that is the actual truth. And if you can't handle that, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. Hey everyone, Andrew here, Melbourne Superman, super fit cosplay, and it is time for me to give my uncensored thoughts about what I feel about Superman 2025. Directed by James Gunn, starring David Cornsweet. So, okay. A lot of you have been commenting in all of my videos that I've been doing about this, about what your feelings are, and I've kind of played the neutral character, right? Like, I've said, I hope that, well, to the people who say that they hope it fails, I hope you're wrong. Not in a mean way, just meaning I hope it doesn't fail. Like, you are so entitled to your opinion. I respect that, I really do. Why anyone would hope a movie fails is beyond anyone's guess. But I get it. Like, there are a lot of us who are stuck. Not stuck, but very much feeling like, I don't know, betrayed. Maybe because we're moving on so fast. And a lot of us hold certain actors who played the role of Superman / Clark Kent close to our hearts. Me, Christopher Reeve, my Superman. Always. Love Henry Cavill, love George Reeves, love Kirk Allen, love Dean Cain, love Tyler Hoechlin. Tyler Hoechlin's up there. Love Tom Welling, not technically Superman. Well, maybe in the last episode. Spoilers, but it's been 10 years. Watch the show. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone. Brandon Routh, of course. Love him. Love his Kingdom Come version. Very, very awesome. I love the animated versions. John Daly? Tim Daly. There's a lot of... I have a love for every version of Superman, right? So, now, David Cornsweet's taking on this role. So, now, by the time you've seen this, you've already seen the thumbnail, you know I've poured myself a glass of wine, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I want to talk about Superman 2025. So, here are my thoughts. Like, I know that I've kind of talked about it, but I'm really excited for this movie. Like, I feel like this movie's really gonna work because, okay, James Gunn knows this movie needs to work, and if it doesn't, he's in trouble, his team is in trouble, and we're not gonna get another reboot for a long time. I've said this before, if this movie tanks, we're not getting a David Cornsweet to Henry Cavill reboot. We're getting a Brandon Routh to Christopher Reeve reboot. Like, I'm thinking, how long was that? What was Superman Returns, 2004 or 2006? One of those. Either way, it was like, it was 15 years. At least 15 years. So it's been a couple of years since the last thing that we've seen from the Snyderverse. You know, the Justice League Snyder cut. Obviously, we saw Henry Cavill at the end of Black Adam. Also, spoilers, but it's been a few years. Go see the movie. That's not going to happen. I don't think that will happen. If this movie fails, we're not going to see another Superman movie for at least 10, 15 years because they will not take another chance on it. So I think that is a big part of why this movie is going to succeed because they're going to be so careful. They're going to be so invested in this story. And I don't think they're putting too much into the mix in terms of, like, I know that we have talked about the Snyderverse and how they put too much too quickly. I don't think that's what's happening here. I think, like I said in my last video, well, 2 or 3 videos ago, plot theory, the other heroes, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, they're going to be plot devices. They're not going to be the plot. And it's going to move Superman's story along so that he has somewhere to go. Because Superman has to do something. So I think they're going to be very careful with that. And they're going to tell a Superman story. Is it going to be an origin story? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see... you know what? I don't know if we're going to see Krypton in this movie. I don't know. It's a tough one. I feel like... I almost feel like... Well, I guess in all the movies, they're flashbacks, really. But I feel like... I don't know. What do you think? Are we going to see Krypton? Comment down below. Let me know. I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time there. I mean, in other movies like Christopher Reeve, Henry Cavill, we spent a substantial amount of time on Krypton. I don't think we're going to do that here. At least I hope not. I'm going to be interested to see what the runtime of the movie is. But I think if we're smart... Like, look, okay. We don't need to see in every Batman movie that Martha and Thomas Wayne die. Like, we get it. We know that's why he becomes Batman. We don't need to see that in every movie, but we always will. So maybe we're going to see Krypton in this movie. I don't know. I hope we're not spending too much time there. Anyway, yes, that is why I think they're going to be very careful with this movie. I think the next reason, so that was number one, we don't want a reboot in 10, 15 years. Number two, I think we need, at this point in time, some hope, right? The world, let's be honest, has kind of gone to hell in the last few decades. We need something to believe in. And I think James Gunn, there it is, knocking the mic. I think James Gunn knows that. I think he knows that we want something. Look, I don't think, a lot of people say that there was no humanity in the Henry Cavill Superman. I don't believe that. I think that Henry Cavill had a lot of charm, humanity, charisma. I just think that the script didn't allow it to come through. But there were moments when it did, but it wasn't the whole, it wasn't like the whole movie. Like, that's one extreme. Christopher Reeve is the other, where the entire time it's like this vision of hope. It's this vision of happiness and friend. You know, he's a friend. And it almost comes across as campy. Today, the 1978 movie, it's a little campy, even though it's set in a real-world environment. It's not like 1966 Batman. But compared to what we have today, sure, of course. You know, some of it hasn't aged well, but some of it has. But I think that's the thing, is like, we need something right in the middle. And I've said this before, I think the animated series, Superman, back in the 90s, was the perfect mix of sort of Henry Cavill, Christopher Reeve, camp, dark. I know dark is a loaded term, but right there where that was, the animated series, I think that's what we want to see. I think that would be a good thing to see. I think that gives us enough hope, gives us enough gravitas to these characters, and it gives us enough comedy. I think we need to see comedy. I had a comment the other day that said Superman's comedic now, or Clark Kent's comedic. It's like, of course, it has to be. Like, there's got to be some element of comedy. Otherwise, what are we doing? Like, Clark Kent versus Superman needs to kind of be funny. And I think that if we shy away from that, and if we want something that's too serious, like, we need a movie that knows what it is. And I think that's where Superman and Lois gets it right. Like, it's got that sort of combination of seriousness, real seriousness, and comedy. Like, Clark Kent doesn't need to be incredibly bumbling, Cary Grant-esque like Christopher Reeve. No, of course not. Is it comic accurate? No, but guess what, kids? This isn't the comic book. Like, this is a movie. It's a different take. It's not always going to be comic accurate. The basics are going to be there, but at the end of the day, we're telling a different story than what we're seeing in the comic. That comics versus the movies is not canon. Mic drop. I mean, don't at me, but that is the actual truth. And if you can't handle that, oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. It's just not. It's not, right? Like, so we need something that audiences are going to feel good about. So I think that is part of the reason why this movie's going to do well, because he knows. 3, I guess this is 3 if we're keeping count. I don't know that I'm making this a list, but here we go. I think David Cornsweet just, like, looks like Superman. Like, the dude looks great. I was looking at his photo the other day, and I was like, he's kind of like a combination of Henry Cavill and Christopher Reeve. More Henry Cavill. But, I mean, I think it was cast really well. I haven't seen him act in anything. Like, I haven't watched anything that David Cornsweet has done. But if he acts half as good as he looks as the character, I think we're going to be okay. I really do. Like, I think it's a hard one. Like, does the character of Superman need to be an actual amazing actor? I don't know. I mean, he's just got to have some stage presence, right? Like, he's got to have that deep voice. He's got to be able to talk to you with authority, but also show you that he's a friend. Christopher Reeve was amazing at this. Henry Cavill, I think, was amazing at this, despite what some people think. So I think David Cornsweet was the right man for the job. Like, if I wasn't going to be cast, it had to be David Cornsweet. Like, let's be honest. I think he looks great. I think the more I look at the suit, I think he holds it really well. Is it a great suit? No, but is that the end suit that we're going to get? Who knows? But I think we've got the right Superman. I think we've got the right cast, you know? I think there's a lot of good things happening in this cast. I'm very excited to see it. Not anyone in this cast that I've seen, Jesus, is a huge name. I mean, Nathan Holt. Holt. What's his first name? Christopher Holt? No. Eric Holt? No. David Holt? No. I've lost it. It's in the text. It's fine. I can't. Nope. Don't got it. Nathan Fillion. Like, there are some names that are names, right? But for the most part, this cast is not full of A-list actors. I mean, I would argue that Nathan Fillion is not an A-list actor. He's done some A-list stuff, but I mean, he's not an A-list actor, and I think that that's a good thing. I think that that tells me that they have enough confidence in what they're doing to not need to feel the need to cast these big names. Am I still recording? Let me check. Yes, I am. Can you imagine one day if I'm like, am I still recording, and then I check it and I'm not, and I've talked like for hours, not hours, but minutes. Anyway. So I think those are some of the reasons why I think this movie is going to do amazing, this film. To all the haters out there, you have totally the right to have your guard up, because we've seen some not so great stuff. We've seen some real political stuff behind the scenes. I think a lot of stuff happened that Zack Snyder didn't have control of. I think the stuff that he did have control of, I don't know, like, I wish, and I gotta tell you, if I'm honest, we're not going to see the Snyderverse again. There are so many of you who think that it's going to revive on Netflix or something or other. I don't know that that's really going to happen. Zack Snyder has returned to DC, I've heard. So that's I don't know what that means. But I know that Zack Snyder is part of DC or Warner Brothers. One of those. I saw that in the news the other day. The entertainment news. But look, I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about that. I'm venting a little bit. I just wanted to talk about why I think this movie is actually going to be great. And I think that all of you who think it's not, again, you're warranted. That's your prerogative. But, like, give it a chance. I would say, give it a chance. Like, don't go into it hating it without knowing what it is. Don't go into it hating it based on the director or the suit. Go into it with an open mind. Go into it with, God forbid, a glimmer of hope. So look, that's all I had to say about that. Look, if you like this channel, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell, ding, ding. Do consider becoming a member, because it really helps me out. It really, really does help me out to keep this channel going. I appreciate all of the members that I have right now. I love you all. Thank you very much. Look, follow me at Melbourne Superman on Instagram, and I will catch you next time.